Hey, I want to welcome our viewers to a special podcast. We have in the studio Gordon Danniels. And Gordon, we've been talking. We were like not even going to do this podcast. We were having so much fun before we went live. But Gordon, would you introduce yourself, who you are, what you do, and who you serve out there so our viewers can have an idea who they're listening to?
Well, my name is Gordon Danniels. I'm an actor here in Atlanta, Georgia. And when you ask me who I serve my audience. When I took lessons from Judson Vaughn with the White House Actors Theater, the one thing he always emphasized was that it's not about you. It's about the people you're serving, your audience.
Mm-hmm.
I like to take it a little bit further, that I'm not only serving my audience, I'm serving the playwrights.
Right.
I'm serving my fellow actors, and I always see it as teamwork. So it's just
you're the first actor, performer, person we've had on, so this is going to be real special. So tell our viewers, like, how does a person like yourself move into acting? We've obviously had a really growth in our just Georgia in general, but share with our viewers what that first part of that journey was like when you decided to do this.
Well, first of all, let me give you a little background before I got into it professionally.
Mm-hmm.
My mother used to direct all the plays at her church, and whether we wanted to be in the plays or not, her children would be in the plays. But
yeah,
we always enjoyed it. And I did plays in grade school and in high school. I got my first Best Actors Award playing a character named Judge Stone in a festival. But I smile when you ask that, because so many people will say, how do you get into acting? Well, I think it's so different for everybody. It's not the same. It's not the same path. I got into it because I have a passion for it. I did it for a while in college, high school, and I was out of it for about 16 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I accidentally got into it because they were doing a play in Canton. There was this actor named Danny Nelson, who I didn't know who he was at the time.
Mm-hmm.
He talked me into going down to see Shay Griffin. I didn't know who she was at the time. And I was reading for the role of Daddy King, because WSB Television was producing the movie The Boy King. And that's when I found out that Danny Nelson was like the president of the Screen Actors Guild in Georgia for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
and that Shay Griffin was the biggest casting director in the Southeast.
Mm-hmm.
So I did an audition for it, and I got a call back, and I thought, well, maybe that's a sign for me to get back into what I really love.
Mm-hmm.
And in the first place, I took some workshops in an orientation. I'll never forget the guy doing the speaking said that everybody thinks that acting is easy, and that he said, but actually only 1 out of every 2,000 people will get a call back on their first audition. And when I heard that, I thought, oh, okay.
Wow, that's low odds.
And yeah, so I just thought that as a sign, because I asked, I said, well, God, this is what I want to do, but I need some signs, some reassurance that this is the path I should go. And it happened. And then I auditioned for the play, A Raising the Sun, role that Sidney Poitier made famous. And I went to audition for the role of Bobo because I thought, they don't know me in Atlanta, and they probably got somebody else in mind for the lead. But the director asked, would I be interested in reading the lead role of Walter Lee Younger? And on the outside, I was saying, well, I would like some time to read it. She said, oh, yeah, I'll give you 15, 20 minutes, much time as you like. On the inside, I'm thinking, what? The lead role of The Raising the Sun? Of course I want to do it.
Yeah.
And I did it, and give God the glory for it. I shared the Best Actor award for that season, myself and another actor who played Sergio de Bergerac. And I took that as another sign to keep going.
What do you think, like, how many years would you say that has spanned over that you've been actively involved in your trade of acting?
Okay, that was started way back in, because when I did A Raising the Sun, I hadn't done a play in 16 years.
Okay.
And that was back during the War of the Desert Storm, to let you know how long I've been doing it. But I also had an 8-hour-a-day job too, so that made it a
Mhm.
little difficult because I had children to raise and bills to pay.
Right.
And I was not going to be one of those type of actors that wanted my wife to support me financially. But I got a lot of support from my wife morally, and she believed in me. She loved me, and she would always, as a friend of mine, reminded me that she would come to a play I was doing 3 or 4 times, but I always bring a different friend because she was proud.
Mm-hmm.
I just love doing it. I love doing it, and so it's been that long since I've gotten to a professional actor.
Right.
First time I got paid for acting, I was like stunned. I went, "Oh, they're gonna actually pay me to do what I love to do."
Mm-hmm.
So,
What do you think for our viewers to get their minds around this? What's the toughest thing you've had to master in your journey to be, in the acting and performing and being available and just being a top in your trade of what you're doing? What was the biggest challenge?
well, I'm gonna say I had 2 major challenges.
Mm-hmm.
One was a role of a character named Lucien in a play called The Boys Next Door.
Mm-hmm.
Lucien was extremely mentally challenged, and I did not want to portray Lucien as a caricature. I tried to make him as real as I could. I used to work at the Canton Day Training Center in Canton, Georgia, where I live,
Mm-hmm.
and we dealt with mentally challenged clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so I pulled from that experience. And before I did the play, there was a group in Gwinnett County that would go bowling every Wednesday night. And unbeknownst to them, I would go and pick up different physical traits from those different people.
Mm-hmm.
And I combined that into my character, Lucien. But the other challenge was that I did not want to ever get to the part where I got a big head about it.
Right.
So I told my brother, my youngest brother, who's a minister, I told Fred, I said, Fred, I think I heard the voice of God say when I asked him, said, please don't let me get conceited, don't let me get the big head. And I said, I felt the voice say, Gordon, you've been praying that for about 10 years now. Do you think you got the big head? I said, no. He said, well, ask for something else. I think you got that one there. When people ask me what I'm most proud of, I think I'm most proud of that. More than anything else is that I think I'm still grounded. I love my hometown, and I've not heard anybody from my hometown ever say they even heard anybody say, well, he thinks he's something else. So I'm actually proud of that. I'm proud of the fact that I have had roles that I've really enjoyed doing, and I've learned that I give God the glory for it.
Mm-hmm. So that kind of tees up, well, not tees up, but it leads me to my next question is that philosophy is a good one. I tell you, if we all had that and we had that humbleness to us, we'd be a better world, but we know obviously that doesn't happen. What do you think was that driving influence that created that mindset that you just described to our viewers?
Oh, that's simple. It's my parents.
Okay.
Both my parents were musicians. My father was the choir director for his church, Hickory Log Baptist Church, and my mother was the choir director for her church, St. Paul AME. And my father played guitar. And they always taught us, don't think too highly of yourself. And so I don't. But by the same token, I've had to learn how to accept compliments for what I have. And my brother and I were told by Reverend Sagles, who had a church in Cartersville, Georgia. At the time, my brother was playing for his choir. And we were concerned about how to accept compliments because, again, we didn't want people to think we were conceited. Mm-hmm. And Reverend Sagles simply said, talking to Fred especially, and I was just there to hear it, and he said, well, Fred, that's just simple. You're good at what you do. You've worked at it. It's a gift. All you got to do is just say, thank you. I give God the glory. And I thought, that freed me.
Yes.
That freed me because it's more about, a lot of people think that actors are doing it because they think it's about ourselves. It's really not. For me, it's a little therapeutic. Mm-hmm. And for me, it's a way to of just be anything I want to be. Because growing up, I couldn't decide. I don't know what I want to be. I don't know what I want to be. And then I saw the movie, the original movie with Henry Fonda, 12 Angry Men,
Mm-hmm.
and I knew that's what I want to be. Because I've been a doctor, but I didn't have to go to medical school.
Yeah.
I've been a lawyer, but I didn't have to go. I've been a murderer, and I've been a genius, and I've been a mentally challenged. So I've been able to do all and be all these things. It's called being in the moment.
Right. Now that we talked briefly about this, I think typecasting is the proper term for, and we were talking about different actors and how they kind of follow on that path, and some deviate a little bit. And it's kind of like when you do, you're outside of your zone of expertise. You described a lot of different scenarios. What would you say your sweet spot is? What do you like to do within a movie that kind of feeds your talents and your skills?
Well, I try to, there's excuse me, there's two ways to approach a role. The role I was talking about earlier when I played the mentally challenged person, I felt like I gathered my information and I played it from the outside and went in. And some roles, you start from the inside and go out. Both work for me, depending on how difficult I think the role is. Like with the role of Lucian, I had to do it that way because I did not want to make a caricature out of him. So I noticed that one of the people I observed that he was just very quiet. And then it's like all of a sudden he jumped into a conversation that was way past the time. And another person I looked at just did this a whole lot and just with grin, And so I combined all those things. And when you do that, that goes into the physical thing can affect the soul of what you're doing, as opposed to the soul affecting the physical thing. And they both can work for me.
That's interesting. I like how you phrase that and frame that. What are you most proud of in like actors or actresses that you have met and worked with? Is there anybody that sticks out or a role that sticks out that goes, man, I love, and when somebody tells you or has a conversation with it, it's kind of like on the top of your tongue or the tip of your tongue?
God, there's so many, as we were talking earlier, just sitting and working with Larry Hagman, who directed one of the episodes I did for the television series In the Heat of the Night. It's like, I couldn't believe this is, I used to watch I Dream of Jeannie.
Right.
I used to watch the Rockford Files. I mean, not the Rockford Files, but Dallas. Yeah. And my God, here I am having lunch with this guy. And he was so much fun to work with. As a matter of fact, of the day of the shooting, he came in and he was hollering. He said, all right, everybody, this is serious work. We're going to come to work. I don't have time for anybody not doing this and that. And man, I'm like, God, he don't seem like a nice guy. And he said, and one more thing. And he took out a clown horn and like, let's all just have some fun. I said, oh my, I'm going to love working with this guy.
Yeah.
And I just love the so grounded that James Garner was when I worked as a stand-in for Lawrence Fishman on the television show, Hallmark Hall of Fame Decoration Day. But when I was doing Fist Fight, there's a scene in there, and I came back, and Ice Cube was one of the lead actors in there, and he gave me one of the greatest compliments. He said, "Man, you're really rocking that scene," and that was a fun production because the director, Richie Kane, I think his name was. He did not have a big, mean, little you attitude toward any of the actors. And none of the actors in that cast did, too. And it was the same feeling I had when I did Blue Lightning, which is now streaming on Hulu, Crackle, Tubi. Yeah. It's the first lead role I've ever had in a movie. I'm proud of that one, too. But it was the same attitude in that cast. There was no big means or little use. I love it when a cast has that type of cohesiveness about it. It's that we're all here to serve the audience, to serve the director, to serve the writer.
What would you say? I know our viewers always we hear the the residual rights and you know, like that show, as long as it's playing and eyeballs are on that show, that there's a financial reward for the people in it. Could you share with our viewers, like, what in your eyes, what does that mean? Like when you say Hulu is continuing to play it, how does that affect you as an actor in something like a show like that?
Well, when I did the movie Fist Fight, there was a scene at a picnic table that I had with Tracy Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Great guy. He treated me like we were lifelong friends. We just hooked up, and the camera was behind me, and he said, "Gordon, turn a little bit to the profile." I said, "Well, Tracy, I was told that this is not my scene that you are singing, and you should never try to upstage an actor." He said, "Man, turn to the side." He said, if an actor gets upstage, he deserves to be upstage. He said, "Turn to the side, man. You just never know who's watching you." I was chosen for the role of Grandpa Cunningham in Blue Lightning. I didn't even audition for it. Sure enough, the director and who was one of the co-writers saw me in the movie Hall Pass and saw me in the movie Fist Fight and decided that's the guy I want to play Grandpa Cunningham.
Okay.
So that's what it means for me. And as far as residuals go, my wife gave me a book one time, and the title said it all. Do what you love, the money will follow.
Right.
And I tell some of the few students that I've had, if you're doing it just for the fame and the fortune, then you're probably on a collision course with disappointment. And I like to describe acting as serious fun. If you take it serious, you're going to have a lot of fun with it. If you're not having fun with it, you may not be taking it serious enough.
I have a friend of mine, Michael Esco, and his son, Eric, all through Campbell High School, was in acting, and he's done plays at the Square and Marietta Square in different places. And so what would advice you would give to somebody young, because he's about 20, that loves performing, loves acting, loves the whole environment? What would you say, like, if you could talk to somebody 20, what advice would you give them?
I would say do it because you have a love for it, and don't give up, because a friend of mine, Danny Baker, who played bass in the recording group that I used to be in, Teakwood, he said this one time. He said, "Success is a numbers game." And I thought about that. John Smoltz used to pitch for the Braves. Great pitcher. Actually, he was my favorite. And if we were 30 yards from a telephone pole, and he had 10 baseballs, and I had 100, if he hit it 100% of the time, all I got to do is hit it 11 times out of my 100. And guess what? I hit the telephone post more than John Smoltz did. But that's, to me, the attitude you got to have. I was taking my oldest son home one time. He's pursuing a music career. And I said, "Michael, where are we going?" He said, "We're going home." I said, "Suppose the car breaks down." He said, "I guess we get it fixed and we go home." I said, "Well, suppose we're in a wreck and we're in the hospital a few days." I said, and they released us from the hospital. He said, "Well, I guess we'll go home." I said, "Do you hear what the common denominator is? No matter what, you're going home." That's the attitude you got to have with any career, whether it be acting, medicine, law, a writer, whatever. Have that attitude and say, no matter what, I'm going over there. I'm going home.
That's good advice. I like that. I'm always amazed at when I watch a movie where the lead actor or actresses have so many lines and they got to memorize these lines. It's like, how did you do, like, what's that process like when they give you a script and they say, "Okay, Gordon, here you go," and you have to kind of internalize it and remember it? What process are you going through to do that?
Okay, a lot of times in a play, let's say you and I are doing a scene, and your last line says, "Well, I'm going out the door," and I know that's my cue to say, "No, you're not." Now, but when you're doing something like a monologue, you have to break it down. And I call it getting your own emotional cues for the next line, getting your own timing, using a break, a change in mood. Those will cue you into what you're going to be saying. So you have to really study a long monologue for a while and just know that if you're in that moment, you're going to know what to do when it's time to do it. And you just keep practicing. More than anything else, just keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing, keep practicing. And you have to have the same attitude about the monologue as you do about the career. You have to decide, I don't care if the telephone rings, interrupt my rehearsal, I got to go back so I can get to that point. Just, you're going from A to B. Just go from A to B. It's not that complicated if you understand the process. I've told my grandson, because sometimes I will like to build things, stuff, and he said, "Grandpa, how you do that?" I said, "Listen, son, let me tell you what a complicated thing is. A complicated thing is a series of simple things."
I like that. We, my partner's out of Canada, and he has the ability to take the complex and make simple. And today we've gotten so complicated with information coming at us, and our iPhone or our regular phone now has information we can get to in seconds. What for you in your own journey of that process, have you had any challenges with technology?
Oh yeah. Let me say this. I developed a philosophy back when our band was struggling. We came out at a time when all of a sudden disco came out, and it really ruined and killed a lot of bands' career. And I just came up with this thing, and I said, not that I'm no great philosopher, but I said, one must live one's life simplistically, but one must go through a truly complicated process to achieve it. Because we start off very simple. We come into this world, we want to eat, want to sleep, want to use the bathroom. And then all these things are added to our lives. You got to go to school now. What? Okay. Well, you can't stay here. You got to get promoted. What? Well, you got to do this. Stop on red. Go on green. And after a while, it's like, and then one day it hits you. Wait a minute. I can get through this complicated process if I just, as they say, keep it simple, stupid.
Right. I love it. I don't want to get through our podcast without giving a shout out to Sylvia, because she was the one. Yes. So tell us a funny story about your cousin, because Sylvia got us here, and so she got you to the studio, and we're thankful for Sylvia. Because I'll tell, before you answer that, I'll give you a second. She puts on the rock sockin' birthday celebration for the residents here at Overture.
Yeah.
And she puts her heart into the memories, the thoughts, the things that we remember from our past, musical things, quizzes, that it just is really cool that she has helped our birthday celebration to another level. But I know you probably have a story that you can share with our viewers.
Yeah, well, first of all, I have to agree with you. I met her second grade, and you're absolutely right. She's been that way all her life.
Oh, really?
One of the sweetest people ever met. But in third grade, my two best friends, Jerome Johnson and Kenneth Towner, and I, we decided we were going to write a play about some Indian tribe. And there was this lead female role called Morningstar, Princess Morningstar. She wanted to play Princess Morningstar so bad. And she used to accuse Jerome, Kenny, and me of casting Betty Burgess. And I told her, no, that was Jerome and Kenny. She said, no, it's all three of me. And I told her, no, I had a crush on Macy. That's who I wanted. So we had that little friendly argument and stuff like that. But other than that, she's been very supportive of me. She's just a wonderful human being.
Yeah.
She's just sweet. And I like to say she's sweet like candy soup.
Yes. When you meet her for the first time, you know how some people connect, that beautiful smile. And she just like, it's like you've known her for a long time. It's like she makes you feel comfortable, and your conversations are different because she does have that, I don't know what it is, that some people call it the it factor, whatever it is. It's that connecting factor that is really a unique skill that is comforting when you around people like that.
Yeah. Well,
So Sylvia, we want to thank you for getting Gordon in the studio at Overture. So let's go into, so when you're not, what do you like to do for fun? Like, tell our viewers what that's.
I love to try to, make furniture. I like to just go sit in with different musicians on open mic nights and just perform. I love conversing with people I find interesting, like yourself.
Thank you.
I just like to live, and I try to get up every morning. As when you first asked me how I was doing today, I said, well, I woke up, I got up. I know I got up and I can talk about it. And those I just count my blessings. My mother said, if you wake up with attitude of gratitude, life's a whole lot easier. And she's so right.
That is wise. And that is so, that's so relevant for today.
Yeah.
When it's kind of like we're arguing back and forth. This is my side. This is your, what you believe. Look, there's some commonality. Gratitude is a beautiful commonality.
Yeah.
So I know music has been in your family. So tell our viewers kind of how music has been a part of your life too.
Oh my God. I used to sing in the choirs in high school and churches and stuff like. And as I said before, I was in a recording group called
Yes.
A Distant Star.
Okay.
And
we will put a link in the show notes to it because, it's all. So tell our viewers a little bit about that. What does that mean?
Okay. Yeah. We all started, and we played on Today in Georgia. We played on James Brown's Future Shock. We toured around the South for a little bit, and we just had so much fun doing it. 3 of the members of our band were music majors. Our trombone player, my brother Fred, and our bass player, Danny Baker. And we eventually acquired a lead guitarist who used to tour with Junior Walker and the All-Stars, group out of Motown during the 60s. And we just wrote, produced, arranged all the music on here. Each one of us were involved at least partly with writing some songs. Music just has always been part of my life. As a matter of fact, pretty much all my cousins can sing, my grandparents can sing. So I think it was 4th grade, I came home one day and I told my dad, I said, Daddy, how come some people won't sing the song, right? Let me get He said, son, everybody can't sing. And I thought, what? What do you mean? And I still don't understand that. Because to me, if you can hear it, why can't you do it? But just some people can't. So once again, that's a gift I got from God, a gift I got through my parents, and I give him the glory for everything.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How about your brother Fred? I know you mentioned that he performed. Tell us a funny story about your brother Fred.
Well, I don't know.
Or not funny, but tell us that. What was that?
But when
just a story.
When I attended Tuskeege University. Matter of fact, I was classmates with the Commodores.
Oh,
yeah, and
Lionel Richie.
Yeah,
Lionel Richie. I love that.
And matter of fact, keyboard player, I can't think of his name now, but I toured. I played with his brother Earl Williams in the Earl Williams Trio for a little while. But I came home from college right around Thanksgiving, and my brother, Fred, I think was maybe 8 years old, had a little toy ukulele. And he was playing this song called "What Would I Do Now That You're Gone?" And I just thought, well, it sounds like Jerry and the Pacemakers. I said, is that Jerry and the Pacemakers? He just hung his head. I said, no, that's a song I wrote. I said, what? You wrote that? He said, yeah. And he feels like that's what inspired him to keep writing.
Right.
And if that's the truth, then I'm going to say that I was just a channel from the Spirit coming through.
Yeah.
Because I think we all are.
Yes, totally.
We sometimes just take way too much credit for what we do.
Yeah.
When, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. I've got to the point now I can say we can do all things through Christ who strengthens me.
I love that verse, and thanks for sharing.
That was always my favorite verse.
We'll put a link in the show notes because we want anybody to go. That's a solid one, and one that I know our viewers will appreciate. So as we wind down, we always like to have our guests share a little bit with our viewers as a kind of parting gift or insight or thought, what would that be if I asked you that question?
Well, for me, I think it would be that whoever you are, whatever your dream is, I like the Nike slogan. And once I was asked to speak at a program for the youth department, youth of one of my brother's churches. And the subject simply was just do it. When I was growing up, if you told people you wanted to be a singer, writer, almost whatever you wanted to be, what we heard too often was, a lot of people tried that and didn't make it. And I'm asking everybody, if some child comes to you with a dream, you can tell them if they want to be, let's say, a singer, tell them, a lot of folks tried that and made it.
Yes.
Whitney Houston made it. Okay.
Yes.
Christina Aguilera made it. James Brown made it. David Ruffin made it. Billy Joel made it. Elton John made it. Why are we telling kids about people who didn't make it? Let's encourage them by telling them the people who did.
Oh, I love that. We're going to get that. I love that.
Thank you.
And you know what, Gordon, when you think about it, we can share a negative or a positive.
Exactly.
And I think as kids, if we can encourage them with just what you shared, it really helps a child that's growing up and forming his thoughts and ideas. That kind of influence can spur them on to think, yeah, maybe I could be this. Right. Maybe I could be that. Long as somebody has done it, there's a model, there's a mentor out there. So I want to thank first Sylvia for bringing you to us. Thank you so much, Sylvia, for doing that. And your cousin I appreciate that you brought her cousin. Yes. I thank you. I was trying to say that. All right.
That's okay.
But thank you so much. And we appreciate you coming into the studio and being with us and sharing.
Me.
Absolutely. You are welcome. We're so glad you came.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.